Good morning and welcome to QuickBooks Ask the Expert, a daily series from 8:30 to 9 a.m. to help small businesses ask any questions during the session. Please put in the comments on Facebook, on YouTube, and you can hashtag QBATE on Twitter. If you need any more advice after this session, please feel free to join the official QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts are there 24/7, answering questions as and when they come up on posts. My name's Johann Goree and I am the Managing Director of JGBC. We're an accounting and bookkeeping firm based primarily in Scotland, but our team work from home across the UK, supporting clients also from across the UK. So this week, I wanted to have a quick chat with you about what we're doing more in our business at the moment, which is supporting startup businesses. So in the news this morning, it was announced that the UK is now officially in recession. I think we've all known that for a few months now, but the figures now officially support that we are in a recession. And earlier this week, we also had the headline figures for job losses of about 220,000 people. So what we're experiencing, though, is that this recession and loss of jobs is creating a pause in time where people are starting to evaluate what they want to do and how they want to do it, and they're evaluating their lifestyles. Every recession we always see an upsurge in startup businesses, and they normally do very well during recession, and then they're strong enough once the recession's over to carry on trading. So we're seeing this in our practice already. We've got lots of new clients inquiring about how they need to start, what they need to consider doing to start their business. But we're seeing more than normal for a recession, and we think that's very much down to the fact that people have been working from home for the last 3 months. That's a certain lifestyle that they've grown accustomed to. So psychologically, it takes up to 3 months to form a habit in our heads and for it to become memory. Well, we've had 3 going on 4 months, if not longer now, actually, of creating a habit of lifestyle and being able to flexibly work around family, friends, etc. So there's a lot of people that are facing going back to normality in a way for work, which they're not overly keen on because it means that they will have to sacrifice that lifestyle that they've built up for the last period of time. But we're also seeing a lot of people that are being made redundant, unfortunately, and losing their jobs. So there's lots and lots of people out there now that are looking at how they want to live their life for the next 5 to 10 years. And there's lots of them that are turning to running their own business. So I just wanted to go through with you this morning some of the more regular questions we're getting and the points we raise to help people that are coming in inquiring about what they need to do to start a business, so that you're all aware. So the first big question that we get asked is, should I be sole trader or should I be a limited company? And this is really down to your own personal circumstances. It's down to the type of business you're going to be doing. It's down to how quickly or how much you want to grow. If your plan is to work 3 days a week as a window cleaner and you don't plan on employing anyone, etc., then it would make sense to be a sole trader. If, however, you're going to be recruiting a team of 10 people to go out and clean windows while you're out doing the selling, then it would make a lot more sense to be a limited company. So what I'd suggest is having a chat with an accountant or a bookkeeper about the pros and cons and the tax implications of both the sole trader and the limited company, and your own personal situation. So it might be that you're better off tax-wise to be a limited company rather than a sole trader. So it's worth just having that conversation about how it suits you and your plans for your business. So there's no definitive, you should do this or you should do that. It's more about getting the right advice and taking it into account for your circumstances and considerations so you get the right fit for you. Another regular question we get is about cash flow and planning and business plans. So about 10 years ago, the small businesses were bombarded with this concept of business plans. You've got to write a business plan. You need to have all these things written down. Personally, I don't put much stock in a business plan. For a small business, I find the problem is your business plan is out of date before you finish writing it. If I was to write a business plan every time we decided we're going to readjust and pivot our business slightly or add a new service in, I'd spend my life writing a business plan and not actually growing my business. So while businesses plans are great for bigger businesses because it takes them a lot longer to move and change, and they've got a lot more people to communicate those changes and plans to, so a written document is ideal. For small businesses, I always advise it's down to your mindset. Some people need a written down plan, so they've got a clear target. Other people are quite happy just having a target set in their mind or a vision in their mind and working towards that. And by communicating that verbally with people, that's enough to motivate them and to keep them on track. So it's really down to you whether you need a business plan or not. If you are going to go for funding to get your business up and running, then the banks and funding providers will probably ask you for a business plan. But if you aren't looking for funding, and if you're not a person that sits there and looks at a document and needs it written down for you to drive you and move you forwards, then I wouldn't waste time creating a huge business plan with all the complexities in it. The one thing I would advise everyone to do, though, is create a cash flow plan. So this could be something as simple as a spreadsheet, or you can go into QuickBooks and use their cash flow planning tool that's now in QuickBooks on the QuickBooks business packages, so that's the Simple, Start, Essentials, and Pro. Or you can go even further and use a software such as Float, which will take all the data in QuickBooks and help you forecast and plan a cash flow from there. But as I say, a starting point can literally just be a spreadsheet. And what you need to do is at the top, put all the planned income, and then list all the expenses each month on the bottom, along the bottom. Plus put in your starting balance of your bank, so how much can you afford to invest to get your business off the ground, and just work out how many sales and how much money you need to generate to cover your costs and to be profitable. Don't worry about things like depreciation and all this accounting terminology. Just work out what's actually going to be in and out of your bank account, because to start with, it doesn't matter what's on your balance sheet and what's on your profit and loss. What really matters is what's in your bank account, and that cash, because it's the cash that pays the bills. You're not going to be able to take a set of accounts to someone, say, I made £10,000 profit, and use that to pay them, because if there's no money in the bank, it's not going to work. So cash flow is the real important part. And there's 3 stages to cash flow. There's a spreadsheet. Start using that. That's great. But then once you've started trading, start looking at the QuickBooks cash flow tool. That will help give you a bit of a steer and a guide into the right direction. And then once you're needing a bit more in-depth and daily management of your cash flow, have a look at the Float app, which is what it's called. It's what we use in my business. I don't make a decision that in my business that has financial implications without putting it through Float as a scenario first. So I have the confidence that I know exactly what we need to do as a business to take on a new staff member, to take on a new office space, etc. So just as a recap, you need to decide whether you're going to be a limited company or sole trader, have a chat with an expert, explain your personal circumstances. They can then advise you in the right direction. Business plans are all well and good, but actually what's more important is a cash flow plan. And it's not to be based on accounting terminology, it's to be based on ins and outs of your bank account. That's the main part you need to concern yourself with, because that's the blood of your business for the first few years. So let's crack on with some questions then. We've got our first question in from Felicity on Facebook Messenger. Hello, Johann. I keep handwritten sales records. Am I breaking the law now? MTD for VAT is here. Hi, Felicity. So MTD impacts on businesses that are VAT registered at £85,000 or over the annual turnover. So they have to be registered for VAT. At this moment in time, HMRC want you to submit through an accounting software. So for a time efficiency point of view, I would say you're better off raising the sales invoices through an accounting software. And then that way, that falls into the MTD report, which goes to HMRC, and you tick all the MTD boxes. Eventually, the long-term goal of MTD is that HMRC can ask for your electronic records so they can do a VAT inspection, as it were, by looking at QuickBooks or your other accounting softwares. Now, that would then mean you need to raise your sales electronically and keep electronic copies of your expenses. If you use a till, that's fine, because that is keeping a record as well. But we don't know when HMRC are going to be at that point that they want to have everything electronic. At the moment, they're happy if the data is going through a software such as QuickBooks and then being transmitted to their MTD portal. That's ticking their rules at this moment in time. Our second question from Faith on Twitter DM. Good morning. I'm a new business owner and own a business of my own business in hairdressing. Do you know what permits, licenses, registrations I need for my business from the beginning? I'm not an expert in what you will and won't need as a hairdressing business. Things that are coming to mind straight away are you need to make sure if you've got a shop, a hairdressing salon, as it were, that your property is allowed to be a salon and it meets those requirements within the business, within the planning rules. You need to make sure you've got the right insurances. So if you've got a shop, you'll need a property insurance. If you've got staff, you need employers insurance. You should always have public liability insurance in case anything goes terribly wrong and someone tries to sue you. You'll need to then go and ask an expert in the field. So there's loads of Facebook groups which will have lots of hair salon people in. Have a chat with them, use their experience and knowledge of your area, and get the answers that way, would be my advice. But you definitely need public liability insurance. And then it's down to best practice within your industry. And there'll be governing bodies of your industry that will suggest different ways you can work to meet set standards expected from the hair salon. I hope that helps, Faith. I'm not sure it does, but I hope it does a bit. Brett from Business Facebook Messenger. What would you say to look out for when projecting cash flow for a new business? Is there some kind of checklist? So part of your cash flow is really easy to project, and that's the expenses part. Okay, so cash flow has really got 3 stages. You've got sales, cost of sales, expenses. So I was helping a client with this the other day. He has started an e-commerce business. He is selling electric scooters online, and he's got some fixed costs that are always going to be there. So website fees, insurance, banking fees, etc. They're the same things that happen every month, regardless of what happens. So they're the easiest things to put in first. So put those in first. Then you need to look at your cost of sales and your sales. So if I sell an item for £10, it costs me £5 to buy it, then I need to make sure that if for every £10 I want to generate in sales, I put a £5 amount in the cost of sales so that I'm reflecting the right costs and profits. But then there's other complications such as advertising. So if you're an e-commerce business, for example, and you're selling an item for £40, you might spend £10 per item in advertising on Facebook and Google. So you need to take those moving costs and make sure you're basing your sales and cost of sales on the same figures. So you need to decide how many units you're going to sell, and then you can work the cost of sales and the sales out. But then the other costs at the bottom, those fixed costs, are what they are. And the only time that really changes is if you take on staff members or new subscriptions or something like that. So yeah, do your bottom bit first, the fixed bit, that's nice and easy. The cost of sales and the sales, you need to take into account what actual costs are related to a sale. So as I say, advertising, packaging, postage, and the cost of the item itself. If you can work that out, how much it costs to sell one mug, for example, by working out how much it costs to post that mug, how much average advertising spend you're going to put behind the mug, and how much the mug costs itself, plus how much you can sell it for, work that out and then multiply it by the amount of mugs you're going to sell or aim to sell. That will then tell you if you're going to be profitable or not as far as the bank balance is concerned. I hope that helps. A bit complicated, that one, but yeah, definitely worth having a chat with an expert if you need more help with that. Okay, we've got one in from Naspret on Facebook Messenger. Good morning. Do I have to send my invoices digitally with MTD for VAT? No. So at the moment, all HMRC are asking for is your VAT return form, which is the same form that we've always filled out with the 9 boxes. They're just asking for that to be submitted through accounting software like QuickBooks into HMRC's digital portal. They're not asking for any records, etc. at this moment in time. But it might be something they ask for in the future. What HMRC's vision for MTD is and what they are doing now are very different. So they've had to water it down considerably just to get everyone into MTD mindset. So just get them filing through the right portals. And then over the next 10 years, maybe, they would expect to increase the requirements. But at the moment, we've just got to file using accountancy software. That is the MTD portal. That is the minimum requirement. Best practice would be to have all your documents stored electronically on QuickBooks, so that if HMRC do a VAT investigation, you can just give them a read-only access to QuickBooks, and they can see all the documents and all the bank transactions they want to see to validate the VAT return. So it makes life easier for you and HMRC and your accountant, if they do inspect, to have everything stored electronically on QuickBooks anyway. Okay, we have got a message from Ben on Twitter DM. Is there a difference between cash flow projection and business projection? If so, what would you say it is? Business projection could mean anything, and business, but the cash flow is literally the ins and outs of your bank account. It's the most important information that any business owner should know. So, I wouldn't even suggest going and getting me to write you a cash flow plan. It needs to be a collaboration. I can help you write a cash flow plan, and I can ask you the right questions, and I can steer you in the right direction. But ultimately, if I just came to you with a spreadsheet and said, this is your cash flow plan, it wouldn't mean anything to you. You don't know how we've got there. We don't know what influences a cash flow plan. As a business owner, I think you really need to know that. So it's a collaborative process of working together and using our expertise to steer you to make sure your cash flow plan is accurate and reliable. I hope that helps. We'll go from there. We've got Blair from a YouTube live feed. When you do cash flow, what about expenses you don't know about, e.g. replacement of equipment? You have no idea which month those expenses are incurred in. Hi, Blair. So you don't. However, a cash flow plan shouldn't just be a document you make on day one of the business and not use ever again. So we use Float in our business to do our cash flow. My daily process, okay, as a manager of my business, is to log into QuickBooks first thing in the morning. I reconcile my bank. normally 5-10 transactions maximum a day. I then turn on float, refresh the figures, and I can see what's happening. And then if a team member rings me at 11 o'clock this morning and says, Johann, I'm really sorry, I've dropped my laptop, it's broken, I need a new one. I can go into my cash flow plan, I can add the cost of a new laptop into it, and I can see what it's going to do to my cash flow for up to the next 3 years. So a cash flow is a live document. It's not something that's just done and you leave it. It's a live, moving, breathing document, or app in our case, where you're constantly putting in new figures. Because just in the last month, we've employed 2 new staff. We've started delivering a new service to our clients. We've looked at new softwares. If I didn't adjust my cash flow plan every time, that one I did a month ago would be completely out of date by now. So yeah, it's a moving document. Once it's done, it's not done. Keep going with it. Keep updating it. And that's why it's really important to potentially move from a spreadsheet to using QuickBooks or Float, because a spreadsheet becomes out of date instantly. As soon as you've had a £10 coffee from somewhere that you weren't planning, that's gone. Your spreadsheet's out of date. Cash flow in QuickBooks, though, knows you've had that spent £10 on coffee that you weren't planning on, and it adjusts the cash flow because you spent it on your bank card. And then because QuickBooks knows about that expense, Float knows about that expense, so you've got a constant live cash flow tool, and you can always see what the impacts are with different scenarios and stuff. So yeah, just keep updating it. Don't just think I've done that, that's a job ticked off, leave it, because yeah, you'll soon get into trouble because you've not got a reliable cash flow then. We've got a message from Isaac on Facebook Messenger. Hi, do you have any advice with what I need to know about when hiring an employee for the first time? Isaac, the first thing I did when I needed to employ someone was I went to the FSB. I became a member. I think it's £120 a year we pay. And they have got a free HR helpline. And they've got every document you're going to need for employing someone. It made life so much easier for me, because you do need a contract. You do need a job description. You do need policies in place. You need to consider health and safety. You need to consider their statutory holiday, statutory sick pay. There's just so many things to consider that you really want to go and speak to an expert. So for £120 a year, I know I've got a HR expert at the end of the phone in the form of the FSB. So definitely worth having a chat with them. Shauna from Twitter DM. Hi, maybe you can help. I'm planning on doing my finance all by my finance. Sorry. Hi, maybe you can help. I'm planning on doing my finance all by myself, as my company is more of a side business at the moment. It's just a bit harder than I thought. Is it worth to get an accountant, or would you recommend that if you do it after you earn a certain amount? Personally, I think you should go and seek advice from day one. So at JGBC, we've got this philosophy and mantra of the 6 stages of business. And stage 1 is when you're planning and organising your business. And a good accountant with a good approach to business would offer you some advice and support free of charge at that point, just to get you up and running. And so, yeah, stage 1 is definitely the most important stages of the business journey. And the business journey in our mind goes from stage 1, planning and organising. Stage 2 is the £0 to £85,000 mark. Stage 3 is £85,000, which is a VAT threshold, to £500,000. And then there's stage 4, stage 5, stage 6, which goes all the way up to £5 million plus a year. So I think you should go for go and find an accountant that can help and advise you. Give us a call. We're more than happy to have a chat. Location's not a problem. We can use Zoom and phone calls, and we can give you as much advice as you need to get your business considerations up and running. But yeah, I strongly recommend anyone looking at starting a business finds an expert they can speak to because most accountants that are business savvy and supportive will provide you some advice and resources free of charge at the start of your journey. I hope that helps. We have got our last message coming in, and that is from Abby on Facebook Messenger. Hi, Johann. Other than personal funds, where else can I find money to fund my small business? So that is a good question. It depends on your location. So there are different funds available in Scotland than there are in England and Wales. Some councils have different funds. Some local authorities have different funds. So it's worth, I'm trying to think what it's called. There is a website which looks at your postcode and tells you what funds are available in your area. I can't remember for the life of me what it is. What I'll do is I'll find it out, I'll pass it on to the QuickBooks team and ask them to send that message back to you with that link, because they will help you understand that. That website will help you understand what's available in your area, because as I say, it's very, very specific to geographical area as to what's available. So yeah, and also industry plays a part in it. So have a look at that. Okay, we have got the poll results in. So since COVID-19, have you started planning or started a new business? So 29% of you said yes, and 79% of you said no. I think that's about right. That's certainly what we're seeing, is we're seeing an upsurge in people starting a new business. And I think now people are starting to come out of the shock of COVID-19, that is becoming more apparent. And people are starting to now seriously think before they go back to normality, what normality is going to look like for them. So I think that figure will potentially grow in the next few months. So it'll be interesting to see what that figure looks like in the next few months, if we were to run that poll again. But yeah, so that's it from me. Just remember, when you're starting a business, cash flow is king. It's not a one-off job. It is a live, living, breathing document or app that you should be updating and checking daily is best practice, but weekly, monthly, whatever you decide is most appropriate for your business. I just know daily is what I wanted to do in my business, because I know how quick business moves. So if you've got any questions, then please do get in touch with the QuickBooks support team on the Facebook page, which is the official QuickBooks SMB Facebook group. There is loads of accountants and small business and other business owners in there that are all sharing their experience and knowledge. Some of the information you get in there is fantastic. I'm in there quite a lot, and some of the knowledge shared by other business owners in the different industries is really helpful for everyone involved. You can find myself at JGBC, which is jgbc.co.uk. We're also on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So if we can help you with anything, please do get in touch. Coming up on Ask the Expert tomorrow is Royden Greaves, who is the co-founder of JH Flemings, a wealth management firm. Royden is the creative force behind the business, working closely with clients on brand positioning, strategic partnerships, marketing, and curve jumping. As a reminder, if you need any more advice, join the official Introvert QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. There's accountants and bookkeepers there and business experts on hand 24/7 to answer your questions. My name's been Johann Goree. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you all soon. Thank you.